Hello everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the Book Refuge. Hello friends, and welcome to a bit of a boozy smash or pass for new to me authors. I don't think it will be too boozy. I mean, this is a Moscato after all. We're not getting too crazy, but I'm filming this a bit later in the day, and I was just feeling like a glass of wine while I do it. So we'll see. I doubt it will get too crazy because I'll probably forget to drink this while we do it. But so let me just take one right now. I have a peach Moscato here, a cheap brand, but that's what I like. I like my wine to taste like juice. That's what I'm here for. But we are going to do the next installment of my Smash or Pass new to me authors. This was something that I started last year, and I'm doing this year too. I'm making a list of authors that I read that are new to me. Now, one of my goals, I believe, was to get to, I think maybe I said I would do 50 to 100. I can't quite remember now. I'd have to look back at my video. But I will say I'm not quite gonna get to 100, so I hope I didn't say 100. I don't know. But so far this year, I am up to 43 new to me authors, which I still feel pretty good about because when you think about that, we've just finished 8 months. So if we're at 43 of these, you know, that's averaging a good amount every month, I feel like, especially with how many sequels and favorite authors that I reread, right? So I feel pretty good about that. The first video I made this year, which I will go ahead and link up here, I got through 19 authors. And just a couple days ago, I was like, oh, when's the last time I filmed one of those? Because I wanted to make more than one of those this year. And so it turns out that we'll probably end up doing 3 of them, because for this video I have 22 more to talk about, so that's great. And on my little chart that I made, my list that I made in my journal, this goes up to 64. So I think that would be a good amount to hit this year. You know, that is between 50 and 100, right? And 64 is what I have on here. About another third left to go. And I mean, I believe if it's 64, that would mean, oh, don't ask me to do math. That would mean I was averaging about 5 new to me authors a month, which I think is pretty good. And some of these that we're going to talk about, because like I said, the last time I made one of these, well, I didn't say when, it was in April is the last time I made one of these. And since making that video, like I said, I've read 22 more, and some of these authors I've already read multiples of their books, so I'll let you know as I go. So as it goes, if you're new, if you don't know what smash or pass means, I barely know myself. It's one of the clickbait terms that people use, but it basically is like smash means you want to smash your face into it, right? Or you want to fuck it is what some people would say. And pass would mean you would, you know, swipe left, not swipe right on an app or something like that. I don't know. So smash or pass is what we have. So as I go through these authors, I'll tell you which authors I would really like to read again. And again, some of them I'll straight up say I already did read them again. Or some that I would maybe read again, and some that I have no intention of reading again. And so the ones that I'm for sure on, I will say smash, and the ones that I'm absolutely not going to read more of, I'll say pass, and then I'll let you know with some of them like where I am. And for some of the authors where I'm on the fence, maybe you can recommend other books from that author to maybe try to tempt me to try more if you wanted to, right? That's up to you. And I have a bit of a booze, like I said, along the way, because some of these are doozies that we'll talk about. And so I want to be boozy while I talk about it. See, I made a rhyme work. I don't know. Also, like I said, I'm filming this kind of late in the day. I had a late start today in general, but I'm going out of town for a few days next week, and I want to get this film for you guys so it'll be able to go up. I got all of my stuff here. So I have my little chart in front of me that I showed you guys, but I do also have my Excel or my Google Sheets pulled up to refer to those, because some of these, right, I read them all the way back in April. That's 100 plus books ago, okay? 150 plus books ago. So particularly some of them I'm going to need a refresh. But let's go ahead and dive into this. Maggie Gates I read. And Maggie Gates, I believe she's popular to most people for, I think she has like a cowboy series or something like that. But the book that I read from her was available for an ALC with Must Love Audio. As I've said many times, Must Love Audio has got me to try a lot of new to me authors, because if there's an audiobook option, it's much easier for me to get to them. So I'm gonna mention that many times in this video. Just get used to it. So Maggie Gates, though, wrote this one called 7 of Hearts. And I won't go into full details about all of these books. I will actually link my playlist with my weekly wrap-ups, because I can't go into depth about all 23 of these, you know. But this one was an accidental pregnancy. I believe it also had rep that our heroine is bisexual. And this also had like a really big family. It had really good found family as well as like actual family. And yeah, it was friends to lovers. It was brother's best friend or best friend's brother. I think this one was best friend's brother. And then, yeah, I ended up giving this one a 4.5 stars. So this one absolutely was a smash for me. I really do want to try Maggie Gates again. So let me know where I should go with her. Should I try that cowboy series? Where should I go? But she was definitely a smash for me with 7 of Hearts. I just thought it was done really, really well. Then there was, and this is crazy because I didn't have this on my list. I had to go back and find a few that I'd like totally skipped over them because I wasn't paying attention. But I did actually read in April for the first time. I read Stephanie Archer, and I read The Wingman, and this was my first Stephanie Archer, and I loved it so much that this was actually one of my book box picks for my fun favorites for one of the quarters there. And I had so much fun with this one. So this was absolutely a smash. And since reading this one, I have also read Gloves Off. I actually got an ALC of that one after reading this. So I do still need to go back to the beginning and read the first couple. But I've read The Wingman and I've read Gloves Off. And I am signed up for an arc of Wildcard as well, which will be coming. So far, these are the hockey ones. So I do want to read Behind the Net and The Fake Out as well from her. So absolutely a smash right there. Then was the Mafia Romance Readathon, and I tried for the first time Sonia Gray. Sonia Gray I tried during the Mafia Romance Readathon, and that book I read was Devil from Moscow. I listened to the audiobook for that one, which was narrated by Lily Drake and Michael Gallagher, and that one was a Russian Bratva story. It was an age gap. It was a marriage of convenience. And it also had started out, I remember, with our heroine being like forced into a brothel to pay off her father's debt. And she gets rescued from there by the hero, who ends up having to marry her to keep her safe, because he really shouldn't have taken her out of that brothel, but he wasn't going to turn away from her plight. So he has to marry her. This one was absolutely a smash as well. I thought this one, for how harsh the beginning of the story was, this one really ended up being almost like a Neva Altai vibes for me, is what I said. The story wasn't perfect. I feel like she did get over her, you know, because we do see her be assaulted in this book. And so I felt like she did maybe get over the trauma a little too quickly, but overall, I want to read more from Sonia Gray, and I'll probably start by like continuing with this series is what I would do with her. We had Deborah Grant, who wrote Leather and Lies. Now, this was a dark cowboy romance. It was an age gap. It was a like kind of forced into a sex deal type of situation, enemies to lovers, and this was a debut author, so new to me and new to everyone. And at the time, like I did say, a smash for this one. I really did. And I actually was signed up for the arc of the next book. And just about 3 weeks before release, that release was actually canceled. I haven't seen any updates as to why or what happened with it. I don't know what was up with the author or what happened, but it got canceled. So I would have read another book from this author, but unfortunately it didn't happen. So I did give her a smash, but we will have to see what comes of that. So I really did enjoy that one. It's along the lines of, if you liked, let's say if you liked kind of like the dark book from Daisy Jane that she did, because Daisy Jane actually wrote a cowboy one under Ember Hughes was her name. Or if you like Sovereign, I don't think it was as literarily strong, but there were a lot of similarities for sure of that like coerced into situation type thing there. Okay, then I finally tried Jenn Mahon, or Mahon, I don't know how to say that, with her book Finding Home, which is a new series from her. And I really liked this one. This one was from Must Love Audio. This one, actually, I was supposed to try her earlier than that. Actually, at the beginning of the year, I think I received an ARC from Jenn Mahon, a physical copy, and I just couldn't get into the book. There was nothing like wrong with it. I just wasn't jiving with it. But I received an ALC of Finding Home, which was a small town woman starting over. It was a grumpy sunshine, and I had a really good time with it. So I definitely want to continue with her, and I actually am signed up for the ALC of her next one, which is Home Field Advantage, and that will continue that series, and that one's going to be a baseball hero and a single dad, I think. And yeah, I really liked her, so another smash. Don't worry, there's some passes coming up, but overall, the new to me authors had been very good to me, which is nice to see. Then we had Pray Tell by Amanda Richardson. And this one, if I'm correct, let me see, I think I read this for Patreon. This was a Patreon pick for... What was our theme for that one? I don't remember what we picked this one for. If it was I think it was Brother's Best Friend. Was Pray Tell for Brother's Best Friend? I don't remember, but I know I read this for Patreon. I read this Amanda Richards, and this one had primal play. It was interesting because it wasn't quite a dark romance. Amanda Richardson, like, she has some like darker themes, but like the relationship wasn't really dark, and I would consider this an erotic romance because it was about like there was a like sex parties that happened in primal play, and yeah, it was Brother's Best Friend as well, so there was a lot of fun stuff going on with it, and I really liked it. And then this was absolutely a smash because even that month still, I read another book from that author, and I ended up reading Holy Hearts, which was an MMF in the series. And I do actually want to read the other books in this series as well. The audiobooks are getting done by Must Love Audio, so I probably will grab some of those. There's one that's called Ward Willing. That is a ward and a guardian and ward romance. And there's another one too that I think is a step sibling romance. So there's a few forbidden ones in here, but they're not overly dark, but they are all erotic. There's a kink that each one is into. So I think that series maybe gives you like Sarah Kate vibes for the, you know, there's a MMF couple and there's a couple that is a forbidden age gap, and there, you know, there's all those different things. So she was definitely a smash for me, and I've already read more from her. Okay, next up was Kinley McGregor, and, oh wait, yes, hold on. Yes, it was Kinley McGregor. Now, this is a bit of a cheat, I guess, because Kinley McGregor is also Sherilyn Kenyon, and I had read Sherilyn Kenyon before, but this was obviously a very different style from her, so I'm putting it in this list anyway. And this was a book that we read for Rake Appreciation Society. This was I mean, as it's, you might think, from a pirate of her own. This was a pirate and a, like, journalist kind of, and she ends up getting swept away on his ship, and there's some drama on the high seas for it. So this one I was kind of teetering on the edge about it, like if I would want to read more by her, but I think I kind of do because it was also just like great fun. So I don't know how many she wrote as Kinley McGregor. I'd have to look, but it was definitely fun. It definitely gave us some stuff to talk about too, which is always fun. Okay, next up was Miranda Bridges, and this one was actually one I read for an annotated pre-order. It was a monster / like alien romance, and while I didn't like hate this book at all, I don't really feel like I want to read more from her either, because it was just a really basic monster romance, and it was a good time. I had fun annotating this for Naru, but when looking at some of these others, this was actually one that I would say was a pass, because I don't know that I would reach for another one of her books unless requested of me. I wouldn't be kicking, screaming, or upset if someone asked me to annotate her again or something. But I don't think I myself will reach for another book from her without being prompted. And I think that's a sign there. Okay, then we had one that I actually loathed quite a bit. And I did a very long rant about it. And I felt awful because this one was also an annotated pre-order that someone asked for. And I really, really tried to find some things that I liked about it because, you know, when people purchase an annotated book from me, I always tell them I'm going to be honest about what I feel. So if you pick a book and I end up not liking it, I mean, I'm not going to lie about what I'm saying in it. But I read Viper by Jennifer Evans. And this is one of the, like, probably is going to be my worst book of the year. I'm really struggling to think of one I hated more than I hated this one. I don't know a nicer way to say that. This was an MFM motorcycle romance told over like, I don't know, 20, 30 year time period. I didn't understand why there was three people, why this was polyamorous. I didn't understand the setup. It was told in like 3 different time periods. And it really seemed like there was only these 3 people together for fetish reasons. I was just very uncomfortable by the whole thing. So we'll just move along. That one was a huge pass for me, and I would never read something by that author again. Like, you know, like I just said, Miranda Bridges, I would be willing to read another one, but I'm putting her in the past. Jennifer Evans, I will never read anything else by her because I just don't, I wouldn't like it, and I'm not going to force myself into things. Okay, then there was another one for Patreon. Well, those other 2 weren't for Patreon. They were annotated pre-orders. So then there was May Alder, and I read Runaway Whirlwind from her. Now, I'm a bit torn about this one because I've since... yeah, I'll just tell you. I have this as a pass for now. Because this book was the first in a series of these, like, this trucker series where it was a plus size hero. It was a girl trying to escape a bad situation, and she ends up being kind of rescued by this trucker, and he ends up wanting to keep her, and he takes her home, and it has breeding kink, and it has he wants to get her pregnant, and it has just, I felt like the heroine didn't have any agency in this. I felt like they started sexual things literally while she was asleep. He started feeling her up and humping her in her sleep and sticking his cum into her while she was asleep. And this wasn't a dark romance. It wasn't written as a dark romance. It was written as like almost infantilization of her as well, and wanting to stuff her full of cum at every situation. And I just didn't care for this one. This book made me uncomfortable. But I've since seen like other stuff being shared by this author, and just straight up, she interacts a lot with my author that I work for. So I don't know that I'll 100% write off May Alder, just because after having interactions with her, I find her to be such a nice person. And I am curious about trying some other things from her. And maybe now having a better perception, like having a clearer mind about what I'm getting into, possibly when I read one of her books, maybe I could enjoy it more. But I just had a big ick while reading Runaway Whirlwind, and I know that did upset some people that I said that, but I still can have an ick factor when I read something. I'm never shaming anyone for what they like to read or to write. That isn't what I do here, and I never will. But I'm still allowed to share what icks me, and I need the people watching to not feel offended when I say that, because we all still have what our boundaries are, right? Like, I know there's plenty of people who say ick to a monster romance, and you get this attitude from people that are like, well, you're willing to read about a spider fucking a girl, but you think it's ick if like this happens. And I'm like, yes, because that's what preference is called. You know, there's that saying, don't yuck someone's yum all over, but there's also don't judge me for what icks me out. Like, just because I like certain things doesn't mean I have to like other things or what my mood is or whatever. And what I know my channel members, viewers, patrons love about me is that I don't lie to placate anyone. And Runaway Whirlwind gave me the ick. It did. I don't think anyone who enjoys it is ick. Like, I don't think that. But anyway, I'm not rationalizing myself. I'm just explaining that. Currently, this author is a pass because of the feelings I had from it. But I'm also a person who likes to give authors more than one chance. That's why with these new to me authors, you'll see I have lots of smash that I share because I'm usually willing to give another one a go. So if the right story from May Alder pops up, I might try her again. I did, of course, love the rep of a husky hero, a plus size hero. You don't read many about them. So I would be willing to read that again, but for now it's a pass anyway. Okay, and then we have one that was another big hit that I also included in my book box this last quarter, and that is Elle Nickel. And so I received 2 ALCs from her because her book, oh shoot, now I just forgot what it was. What was the next one? The Rule Breaker was going to be coming out, and so we were getting an ALC of that. And with the Home Books promo PR team, they were offering this book because it is very connected to the Rule Breaker. And I gobbled this up. Loved this. I can't say that I've really read about a matchmaker that in a contemporary before, but I loved this couple. This was a silver fox daddy who's never truly been in love. The marriage that he had when he was young was more of a marriage between billionaires type of thing. Though he adores his children, he is now a widower, and his daughter wants him to be happy. And so she sets up a matchmaker to work with her father. And he is like, I'm really not interested in this. I'm happy with my life. But he doesn't truly know what he's missing. And I found that's what was beautiful. And our heroine in here, she's just a little bit in touch with her spiritual side a little bit. And she gets vibes off of people where she is. That's why she's been so successful as a matchmaker. And she ends up falling in love with him. And instead of matching him with someone else, they end up together. And honestly, this hero, Sterling, he deserves all the best. Like, truly, he is such a romantic. He just didn't know it. And the way that he treats our heroine, just so, so good. And the way that he's found true love for the first time. He thought that was something he couldn't have. Like, I loved it. So, yeah, this was one I adored so much. And I did then read Rule Breaker from her. And I haven't got to it yet, but I will in the next couple of days. I received an ARC direct or an ALC directly from the author because she is getting her backlist put into audiobook as well. So I have an ALC of Mr. Rich something. I can't remember. So I definitely was a smash with Elle Nickel. Okay, then there was Sloan St. James. This one was another book that was for Patreon. See, Patreon, man, like, they get it right much more than they get it wrong. And I've tried so many new authors straight up because of Patreon. Like, so many of my new to me authors come from my monthly reads for them. And so Sloan St. James, I read Stand and Defend by her. This was one where we have kind of a heroine on the run. We have a forced proximity, friends to lovers. Also some great BDSM and like caretaking happening. There was just some super sexy stuff in this one. But our heroine is in a domestic abuse situation and she gets hit for the first time in the beginning of this book. She was with a gaslighting, manipulative asshole, but she gets hit for the first time by this guy and she is like, once is it. That's it. I'm never giving you a chance to do it again. And so she makes a run for it. And the man absolutely tries to control her because he already has taken so much control of her life. So he tries to bully her into coming back to him. But the man who was supposed to be his best man in their wedding, he totally is like, fuck that guy. And he's actually the one who offers Jordan some help, because he's seen what domestic abuse looks like. And so at first, their relationship is just he's trying to offer her a safe place. He also is a very wealthy man. He is a hockey player, I think is what we have. Yeah, this is hockey. And he wants to provide her a safe place. And they're very attracted to each other. So there's both those things. But absolutely liked this one as well. And I will be reading another Sloan St. James this month because one of my patrons who monthly gets an annotated book picked one of hers. So I already wanted to read more of hers and I'm being pushed into it. And I'm excited about that. I'm excited to be pushed into it because who knows when I would have got around to it on my own. And so this book, Stand and Defend, was the last book in the series. And that one was picked for, oh no, that's right. That one was for July, which was a free-for-all. That's why I couldn't remember it. And so that one got recommended. So yeah, absolutely. Okay, next up was Monica Kain, and I read Ruthless Rain. We'll go through some of these kind of quickly here. So this was a smash for me. The book I read was Ruthless Rain. Now, I was a bit on the fence about this one. I didn't really love some of the tropes that were included. This was I believe we have Bratva, and this one was she's arranged to marry this really sick, abusive guy. And the hero is her part-time bodyguard, and they end up falling in love. And I just didn't love how it played out. But I'm actually going to be continuing with this series because the author had wanted me to read the third book in the series, and she sent me the first two. So this one isn't really the one that I'm in on for. So I will give the author a smash as of now because I'm going to be reading more. And we'll see how I feel once I read the others in the series, if she's an author I want to keep reading and like recommending. Then I read Make Me Yours, and this was from the author Jennifer Sussik, and not quite sure how to pronounce that still. But yeah, this author I read for Must Love Audio. It was a hockey romance, a friends to lovers. So these next ones I'm going to talk about, I all just talked about them recently on my channel. So again, I'll have my weekly wrap-ups linked. I want to get through these last ones here for you. But the hero has always been pining after her, and he finally makes his move now that she is living with him, and he just tries to convince her to be with him, and she's nervous about getting in a new relationship. So first off, they have to start as kind of friends with benefits, and he's going to try to prove that they should be together. There was Daphne Elliot, and this was also a smash for me. I read Axe Backwards. I had an ALC from, one was from Home Promo Books, or Home Books Promo. And yeah, that one was a firefighter romance and a single dad. He's actually a guardian to this baby. It's so sweet. And our heroine is getting out of a situation. Well, not just getting out, but basically her husband had cheated on her with her sister. and they had fertility problems in their marriage, but her sister is pregnant and marrying her ex-husband. So she would just really like a fresh start, and her and the hero end up being neighbors, and she helps him with his new ward that he has taken on when the baby's parents were killed in a fire. Then I read Laura P. I'm not even going to try to say this, but I read Wolf King. I bought the audiobook of this because everyone was going off about it. And while I'm nervous about where the trilogy is going, because this is a story with a love triangle, it is Scottish wolves. It has a bit of a historical setting, but it's like paranormal fantasy. And the heroine ends up getting kidnapped / kind of willingly going with this werewolf back to his people. And she's supposed to be being used against her fiance, but he's an abusive asshole. So it didn't take much to convince her to leave him. But she's learning more about the wolves as she's there. And she's falling for Callum, who is the wolf who kidnapped her. But there's supposed to be a love triangle happening in this series. So yeah, I'm unsure about how I'll feel, but I did put a smash because I will probably wait till book 3 comes out, and then I'll read them all and see how I feel about the trilogy then. Okay, then there was Katie Ruggle, and I read Fish Out of Water. This was picked for me by one of my patrons to annotate, and it was fine. It was sweet. This is one where, like, I haven't really been saying this about them. I'm kind of in the middle of if I would read more. I don't think this was bad. This was really sweet, but it also is a story that like won't stay with me for a long time. And it kind of just felt like a run-of-the-mill contemporary romance that Trad Pub is pumping out every month, you know? So I'm torn. I don't dislike her, but I did put this in a pass just because I doubt I will be quick to reach for another one. But it isn't because the book was awful. It was sweet. It was fun. It just wasn't enough to fully like stimulate me for more, you know? Then I read Lily Blackwood, and this was another one for a Rake Appreciation Society. I listened to The Beast of Clan Kincaid, which was a Scottish romance, hidden identity, forbidden romance type of thing. And this one was good. I do want to read more in the series, so I put this one as a smash, and I had a good time with it. Then I read L. Richards for the first time. The book was called The Fallen, and this is a post-apocalyptic zombie romance. And this was the first in a trilogy. I already have the second one downloaded, so that's going to make this a smash. I really was looking for books to be able to recommend for if you love Claire Kent, like try this. And I do think that L. Richards hits that for me, though this trilogy is going to be about the same couple, so I need to keep going. The whole trilogy is out. I just need to have time to get to it again. But yeah, it was perfectly fun, and want to read more of it. Okay, then I read My Amour, and this was an MMF romance that was sent to me by the author, and it was a marriage in trouble, and then also a friend of theirs ends up joining their marriage, and he ends up staying with them for a while with his daughter. He's only recently met his daughter and taken her in, and they also have a daughter that is near the same age, and then they also all grow to love each other. And I really enjoyed this. I definitely want to read more from My Amour. This was spicy but sweet and emotional, and it had a lot of the things that I love so much. I also love there's 3 little birds on it on the side. So cute. Okay, then there was Ursa Dax, and this was Alien Tyrant, which was my most recent Patreon read, and this one was for Fated Mates. This one got picked. I do have the full detailed review of that available on my Patreon. Also the other ones I mentioned too. Sorry, I should have been promoting those, but all of those are available on my Patreon right now. But the Ursa Dax, I would probably say it's a pass, because although it wasn't a bad book, it felt very repetitive of other sci-fi Fated Mates that we've read. right down to one of the first times he meets her, he's smelling her lady bits right away and trying to get her off with his tongue right away, and there being a language barrier until a magical being makes it so they can understand one another, and it's women being kidnapped and brought to this planet of aliens. So like there's just a lot that was similar, which that's fine. That's what tropes are. That's when you're gonna get similar things, but there just wasn't anything fresh about it. So this was a fun time. It made me laugh a little bit, but I don't think I'll reach for another book by Ursa Dax. Okay, just a couple left. I read Emmy West. These are all ones I talked about in my last weekly wrap-up, so I don't need to explain them too much. But I read Marchioness Overnight. This one was another from Must Love Audio. This one was a historical that I really enjoyed, and it had a marriage of like by proxy / it was a forced marriage. It's a wounded, scarred hero. The audiobook was done in duet, which I really liked. And so, yeah, I'd never heard of Emmy West before, but I will absolutely read her again. I think there's even some more audiobooks going to be available from her very soon. Then there was Scarlet Avery that I listened to with Must Love Audio. This was Off Limits Mogul was the book. This was a brother's best friend, forced proximity, roommates. We've both pined for each other in the past, finally getting our chance. Pretty sexy, but also I really loved their relationship. It was really sweet. So that one is a smash as well. And then the author that I just finished the book earlier today, this is Pippa Grant, and I read The Spite Date, and this one has a British hot single dad. It's a single dad rom-com. Our heroine runs a food truck, and our hero is an actor. He has twin sons, and he's in the area trying to find inspiration and write his next script to sell to the studio. And he gets inspired by the heroine and the life that she's lived. She raised her younger brothers on her own when her parents died. She has really been struggling lately because her ex-boyfriend really screwed her over. And so she's definitely very guarded. And at the beginning of this book, she's actually being thrown in jail for a prank that Simon's sons did. And so to make it up to her, he shows up at her food truck. Again, this is an actor, and he gets a lot of buzz for her food truck to help it have business. And then like, he just doesn't leave her alone. He finds her so interesting. And like I said, he really likes her story and how she became who she is. And they just can't stay away from each other. And the rest is history, as they say. So this one was also a smash. I will be reading more from her for sure. Okay, so there you go. That is, I believe 22 new to me authors and how I feel about it. Overall, many more smashes than passes from me. I love trying new authors, and again, I don't know that I will get to 100 this year with only a third of the year left, but if I can do another 20, I think that will feel really good, right? That's another like 5 or so per month, and that's been really fun trying some new to me authors and seeing where that leads me, you know? So thank you so much for watching, friends. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, check out my Patreon or channel memberships if you want to support what I do here, and I will see you next time. Bye.